guys. If you want to get me out of my clothes, you need to buy the Angry Brothers Big Skull mug. On sale now.
Well, greetings, faithful followers. I'm Brother Jack Angry, along with Countess Boobula. And we're with the Angry Brothers Omaha Shakarama, myself, Brother James, the Countess, Inferna, and the rest of the gang want to welcome you to Chop Block's Horror Network. And remember, friends, let's keep America on top. Watch Horror Host, y'all. And you can do that on Chop Block. Anything you'd like to add, Countess?
Well, it seems like being spooky is in style these days.
So, good night and unpleasant dreams.
Sweet nightmare.
Greetings, faithful followers. I'm Brother Jack Angry, along with the gorgeous, luscious Countess Boobula. And welcome to another episode of the Angry Brothers Omaha Shakarama. So tonight, well, I don't want to be rude, Countess. How have you been doing?
I feel like one of the women in the film we're reviewing because I feel like I've been operated on.
Yes, it's like, well, fortunately they didn't put your brain into a cat, you know, it's like...
The Countess has definitely not been all there the last few weeks.
We all have, believe me, I've been there myself, Countess, and I know exactly what you're going through, and we're all rooting for you. Tonight's film is the 1963 grade B horror film, The Monstrosity, starring Marjorie Eaton and Judy Bamber. Now this film deals with a scientist, basically by the name of Fred Forrest. I can't remember the name of the character he plays, but it's just, the guy's...
It was Dr. Frank, which is pretty ironic.
Dr. Frank, yes.
I see what they did there.
Yeah, it means the writing's, it's what we call lazy writing.
I had to laugh quite a bit.
Yes, it's like, well, I mean, the movie starts out with Dr. Frank doing his experiments on freshly dead bodies and trying to reanimate them using nuclear radiation and atomic fission, and really all he ends up doing is just microwaving these poor chicks like chicken McNuggets at a McDonald's during the lunch rush. I mean, it's like they're going out of there so quick you'd think Jeffrey Dahmer was running this outfit. He basically essentially supplements his list of experimental subjects by grave robbing, you know, so he tries to get the freshest meat he can out there, but, you know, sometimes things just don't work out and he gets a bad one every now and again.
No wonder the only work he could get hired on for was by a narcissistic rich old lady.
Well, there you go. It's like, you know, it's like he knows when to rub the bunions, let's face it, you know, it's like, that money's gotta come from somewhere. But the story goes on that, you know, he eventually runs out of test subjects, or he determines that the freshly dead are too far gone for him to do his brain implant experiments, which is why he was hired by the narcissistic rich old woman. So basically her old brain could be put in a hot young body and she could go on for another 50, 60, 70 years.
I believe she also had like a younger husband or something.
Well, she had a companion who was a little younger than her, but let's face it, he was an old fart anyway, you know, it's like, looked like the poster boy for Viagra, you know, it's like, and he wasn't Smiling Bob either, you know.
He wasn't smiling at all.
No, he wasn't smiling, and considering how he ended up in the film, you know, I couldn't blame him. It's like, yeah, it's like, you know, no, not good. Not a good look for you. Although he did try to hit on one of the young chicks, and he looked like he was making some pretty good time up until the old lady just right in the back of the head with the big hat pin, you know. It's like he is dead before God got the news. Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, so let's get on with all that nuclear mad scientist fun. The monstrosity here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Shockorama. Anything you want to throw out there, Countess, or?
You'll just have to wait and see.
There you go. But enjoy, and on with the movie.
Sweet night, Max.
Can death be outwitted? Is the secret of eternal life just around that corner? Today, medical science patches up mutilated bodies, transplanting human skin, eyes, limbs, even vital organs. Is the next step the transplantation of the human brain? Many scientists answer yes, but they pause and add a grim warning. For in the ancient folk legends, tales are told of blood-sucking vampires, crawling out of graves to live on the bodies of helpless victims. Is man now doomed to produce a race of ever-living monstrosities, worse than the vampires of legend? Will ruthless men and women of great wealth and power greedily buy or steal the living bodies of the young and beautiful, so their brains may live on forever? Such questions may seem fanciful, but at this very moment, scientists are working on the answer to brain transplantation, and human bodies are used. This girl was buried in a nearby cemetery yesterday. Only a few hours ago, her body was stolen. By Dr. Otto Frank, and brought to this hidden laboratory. He has grafted a living animal's brain into this newly dead body. If the experiment works, the next step will be the transplantation of a human brain. The brain cells are being reactivated by an atomic fission produced in the cyclotron. Has he found the way to outwit death? Or has he created another?
Welcome back, faithful followers. What did you think of all that brain-swapping nonsense in the monstrosity?
I don't know.
Oh, I think the doctor got to her, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's fine. I mean, that's all right, dear. Believe me, it's like after an 8-hour day at work, I think I've been brain-swapped, you know. And we got to give some real props in this movie. The best acting in this film was done by Xerxes the cat, who, by the way, was actually owned by Judy Bamber, who played the English serving girl B. But the cat's performance was spot on. B's, not so much.
Yeah, in my opinion, compared to a lot of the movies that we've reviewed, I would say that I was actually kind of impressed in comparison to what I expected. That doesn't mean it was all great, but...
Well, let's face it. I mean, the cat was not only a great actor. I mean, he can lick his own butthole. There's just something about that, you know. It's like, now that's a multi-talented performer.
The only actors that we have that can do that aren't in...
Well, yeah, they all have big mustaches, and it's like, we love you, Ron Jeremy. The hedgehog lives.
And also, if you've seen, I would never pull a wheelchair that close to the beginning.
Oh yes,
of the
it's like,
stairs.
I did see that. Speaking of not pulling the wheelchair too close to the stairs, and I'd be willing to bet Marjorie Eaton probably took a header down the stairs on more than one occasion during that film, because she just got a little too close and jumped up, went right forward down the stairs, and it's like I could see the crew. Somebody want to pick up Marjorie? She took a header down the stairs again.
They didn't put a disclaimer that no old ladies were...
harmed during the making of this film, yeah. She probably got a few bumps on the head, but she's fine. You know, they just shook it off in the 50s and 60s. You know, they give them a cigarette and a cup of coffee, and they was good to go. Not like the little snowflakes we have today who get butthurt over everything.
No comment.
Yeah, it's like...
I have too many comments.
Oh, what? You know your share of snowflakes, do you?
You could say that.
Yes, it's like, God love you millennials, you know. It's like, you make old farts like me, you make us look damn good by comparison. So keep up the good work, you little tree huggers. But anyway, before, we'll get back to a little bit of trivia about this film. Basically here, the cat Xerxes was owned by Judy Bamber, who was a 1950s and 60s pinup model. She was a model for the J.C. Penney Company. She was actually appeared in their first catalog. And she was one of the original Hertz girls. The Hertz Rent-A-Car Company used very voluptuous, well-built women in their print and their print ad campaigns, and Judy Bamber was one of the first. She was actually one of the inaugural Hertz girls. This was later phased out in the 1970s because the height of the feminist movement, because it was thought that Hertz was being, you know, too sexist and using a bunch of well-built, scantily clad women to promote rental cars. Although what one has to do with the other, you know, it's a little over my head, but you know, I'm a guy. You know, this and this, not enough blood to run both at the same time. So, you know, when this is working, this ain't. And when this is, this ain't. So, you know how that goes.
Well, not personally, but
Well, it's...
I understand.
Well, I'm sure you've probably caused your share of brain failure in your time.
I'm having one currently.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's like, welcome to my world, you know. Like I said, that blood drained out years ago, and I ain't seen it since. So I don't know. I'm filing it under the heading of they're deserters, you know. Kind of like my hair and my teeth. They're deserters. I don't need them. But anyway, we're going to get back to the movie, The Monstrosity, here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Shockorama. Anything you want to add, Countess?
I will say there is a glitch in the midway, a little over midway of the film. Keep your eyes peeled for it. I'm sure you'll know it when you see it.
Yes, and there were some other really glaring technical goofs that were quite amusing, and we'll cover those when we come back. So until then, The Monstrosity here on the Angry Brothers Omaha Shockorama. Enjoy.
Sweet nightmare.
You failed. She thinks she's a cat.
Nice, kitty. Well, I see you still resent the way Mrs. Marsh treats you. I can't say that I blame you. Kitty's always been very fond of me, haven't you?
Does she have all the instincts of a cat?
Watch.
She ate it.
Please don't let it happen. You could help me and Bee get away.
When you're a rich woman, you wouldn't forget an old friend. A friend who'd saved your life, would you? Get out of the car. And stay there.
Victor, we too. We must come too.
Wait a minute. Just to make sure. Sign this. Ready.
Well, greetings, faithful followers. Welcome back. What did you think of the monstrosity? Now, there was a lot of really great technical goofs in this film. You said you spotted one that even I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, I told you guys to watch out for that one. Their technology wasn't quite as great back then, so I don't know if glitch was the right word, but it takes place outside, and it looks like they accidentally hit reverse on a movement. It was pretty out of place.
Well, you know what? Here's something I found out from our good friends at IMDb. The production company that was making the film actually went bankrupt halfway through the shooting. So they didn't have the resources to shoot new scenes. So what they tried to do is they tried to recycle outtakes and flubbed scenes into the movie to finish it. They were not entirely successful. They did get enough to get a reasonably coherent print to the theaters and to their distributors, thus saving them from being in abeyance of their distribution contract, which would have resulted in larger fines and more money, them owing more money than what they could pay their creditors now. So the scene you saw could very well be part of that, because the production company, the post-production, tried to do a lot of creative editing. And by creative editing, I mean they were tacking stuff in wherever they could to fill up the time and to try and make the story make sense. So there's a lot of weirdness in this film, particularly if you remember the scene where the girls are being introduced to Mrs. March. They go by a rather large wall mirror, and in that mirror you'll see a film crew person holding, standing by a light fixture, most likely a spotlight. It wasn't on, but he was standing there, and he was clearly in the frame, and he continued to stand there throughout the whole scene.
Not seeming to notice.
Well, not seeming or not caring. I mean, I don't think they employed the brightest people as their crew and technical staff when this movie was made. So this guy might have just been working for union wages and just hanging out and doing his thing, and he wasn't going to move, because you don't mess with the filmmakers union or the technical workers union. That's like messing with the Teamsters. And in Hollywood at that time, when the union said jump, your only response would have been to say how high. The unions had a lot of power back then, even more so than today.
Clearly they couldn't seem to afford better quality as they went bankrupt.
Well, another little bit of trivia. This production company the two producers. One of them was named Dillman, and his brother was actor Brad Dillman, who did and he's a pretty competent character actor. Search him on IMDb and you'll know what I mean. He was the narrator at the beginning of the film. He was doing it as a favor to help his brother out, who was one of the producers. The film, it is what it is. Now, since we've got all the glitches out of the way and some of the trivia about the film, now me and you we had a disagreement. I'm giving this film 2 stars as far as our wrap-up, which is basically, it's a competent piece of filmmaking. I mean, any film gets at least a half a star if you can download it off YouTube without it messing up. So they did do a fairly competent job. I mean, I was able to sit through it and not want to blow my brains out afterwards. But you saw in it a little more than what I did.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I didn't desire enough to download it, but...
You did watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, I did go into it thinking, oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't... I guess a lot of the movies that we've reviewed, I have a lot more, sorry, my brain's not working. I don't know, I say that it was actually done very well for its genre, not just horror movie, but...
So it had a little, are you saying it had a little more technical merit than what I gave it credit for?
Aside from the glitches?
Yeah.
And the acting really wasn't as bad in my opinion.
Although the cat did a great job.
That was...
I have to give the cat props. The gal, and incidentally, this was Judy Bamber's last film. She retired from filmmaking after this movie. Not because this movie was so horrible, but she was a newlywed, and she was actually like 2 months pregnant when that film was done. So she left acting to take care of her husband and raise her children and her family. She actually went on to have 3 husbands and is still very much alive and living in California today.
I will say her accent in the film wasn't quite...
Yeah,
seemed accurate.
The Manchester accent she tried to do was a little bit over the top, but it was a nice attempt, you know.
Oh, and the animal noises, there was many animal noises, especially the cat that I've...
Well, yeah, that cat, I mean, he sounded seriously honked off. You know, it's like that kitty was mad.
It sounded like a combination of a regular house cat and a Ferrari.
There you go, but I mean, it's like, yeah, the Foley people, the sound effects people, they did their work. I mean, they must have...
I thought you were going to say worst.
No, it's like, I have nothing but respect for the Foley and sound artists in these films. I mean, because I know that to do Foley work, which is basically where you either create the sound effects for a film or you get them from a catalog of places, and even then you have to a lot of times you have to go out into the field and find the things that make the sounds that you're thinking of in the script. So it's actually a very technical job, and it involves a lot of legwork. So I have nothing but props for the technical crews that work these films, even though the movies are, I don't want to say bad, I will just say they're misunderstood.
Unique.
They're unique, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's
special.
There you go. It's special ed, but hey, that's who's judging. You know, and they do a wonderful job, and you know, they're truly a credit to their profession. So, way to go, guys. You know, it's like, and that tradition continues today.
If it wasn't for those movies, we wouldn't.
Well, yeah. What would we be here for?
Yeah.
I mean, well. You could stand here and read your laundry list and people would pay attention to that. Me, not so much. I actually got to find something relevant to say. It's like, you know, it's like I can't just do blah, 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 and everybody listens. Not that I'm saying you do, but you actually have relevant things to say, and they're actually insightful. But I've known some horror hosts who will remain nameless that basically all we see is this, and all we hear is, you know, Charlie Brown's teacher. You know, red hair, lab coat, hack. but that's all we hear, you know, and you at least, you take the effort to do your job properly. I mean, you're an asset to this show.
I try not to resort to my old ways back home.
Asset. But anyway, but we love you, Countess. You do a wonderful job here, and you know, judging by the number of downloads that are that brings me to, got to throw a big shout out to our friends at the Paletti Entertainment Group. They carry our Roku channel. They actually developed it and helped us get it online. So if you have the Roku streaming box, search Angry Brothers or Angry Brothers Omaha. You'll see our logo right there. Download our channel. You get all this great content. You get all of the best shows with Ash, Inferna, Lady Torrid, Brother James, me, the Countess, Gulia, the whole gang. You get, we will be uploading all of our movies that were on Amazon, but you know, were removed in the great content purge of 2019. Thanks, Amazon, you putzes. But anyway, you know, so you'll see those there. You'll see our specials on the various cons we've attended, the Groundhog Proms. All the best stuff from the Angry Brothers is your one-stop shop for the Angry Brothers. So you'll see all of those things there. So download the channel. We've been doing really spectacular. We've had over 10,000 downloads this month alone. And we've only been up, the channel's only been up 2 months. So we've actually had probably like total maybe 20,000, 30,000 downloads. But we had in the last month, from October the 1st to November the 1st, we've had over 10,000. So, you know, you're definitely going to want to download this. Thank you so much, people. We know our fans and friends are out there. We know you love us. We know you watch us. And we're just going to keep bringing you the best stuff we can. Myself, the Countess, Brother James, the rest of the gang, you know, keep watching us. You hang in with us. We'll hang in there with you.
And I would also like to say I'm working on my merchandise for our fans. And we need to work on more merchandise for
the Angry Brothers. Yes, it's like, well, we're going to be, you know, it's like, since I've recently discovered the world of 3D printing, I will be doing a kind of an unboxing and a review of some really great 3D printing projects, and I'll be featuring some of the projects I've done, some really great stuff there. And you can look for 3D printed statues of myself, the Countess, and Brother James to be coming out soon. We're just working on a few of the technical glitches in it, but you're going to love those when you do, and they're going to be available at a very reasonable price. Because, you know, we understand our fans, like us, you know, they work for their money and they don't want to just throw it away foolishly.
Yeah.
Although it's like, you know, buy our stuff. That's all I got to say is buy our stuff. You know, Brother Jack's got bills he has to pay. You know, it's like, that's really all there is to it. And so on that happy note, catch us next week. The movie's going to be a big surprise, but I guarantee you you're going to love it. So for myself, the Countess, good night, unpleasant dreams, and friends, don't let friends wear lab coats.
Sweet dreams.
Sweet dreams, don't you mean sweet nightmares? But, you
I'm
know,
really tired.
yes, it's like, okay, well, you got a pass from the Countess on this one. So, good night.
Sweet nightmares.
Well, greetings, faithful followers. This is your old pal, Brother Jack.